this episode of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. I'm Trey Rhodes, the Connections Pastor at Northwood Baptist Church here in North Charleston, South Carolina. In just a few moments, our lead pastor, Dr. Tommy Metter, will be joining the conversation as well. In our crazy and chaotic world, our hope is that these few minutes will help you stop and reflect on your relationship with Jesus as you learn to connect Christ-centered faith to your everyday life. Well, we are on episode 153 of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. And as always, as you listen to the podcast, just let people know, however you can let them know, to listen and be a part. We appreciate all the word going out. A lot of people letting people know how good it is to be able to connect the Word of God to what we deal with every single day. So Facebook, Twitter, text, whatever it takes. And really, Pastor, I really think, and I know I say this often, but it's so important for people to understand the Bible is just not some dusty book that's up on a shelf that we read on Sunday mornings. It really does apply to and affect our lives every single day.
That's kind of why God gave it to us. God gave it to us so it could affect our lives and change what we live every single day, for sure.
Amen. And we're going to talk about something that affects every one of our lives. And I'll start by saying this. Who doesn't like to take a nap? You say, if I could just have a nap, I'd be so good.
You take a lot of naps, Pops?
I do not. I take one, and it's on Sunday afternoon, and it's about for 30 minutes, and that's it. And typically, if I take a nap during the week, I fight it. But if I take a nap, then I won't be able to sleep at night. Yeah, Sundays, not so much. It really, seriously.
I usually take a nap on Sundays. I mean, I'm a preacher. Preachers only work one day a week, so
you got to take that. When you work hard for that one day, you got to take a nap. And I know it's so much more than that, but really we are going to talk about the importance of rest because life is not all work. There is rest involved.
That's right. And so if you're listening to this podcast on the day of release, I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
We're missing you.
Thanks, man.
I'm just saying it right now.
I'm missed already. I'm on vacation.
I like the control that you bring into the office.
The control.
When people,
that doesn't sound
when people
good.
know you there, anyway, I'm not getting into it. I just, I'm an old guy. I want quiet and peace and all those things.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I miss being, so I am on vacation this week. So this episode is obviously recorded before I'm on vacation. I call it vacation, but my family doesn't really take vacations.
They just kind of get together?
Well,
sort of thing?
I mean, it's with family. So my family is with my parents this week, and my brother and my sister-in-law and my niece. And so, while we are at Myrtle Beach this week, it's still more visitation.
Visitication.
Visitication. And then we'll go sometime in July to New Orleans to see Stacy's parents, and that's visitation. Mm-hmm. And I've heard a pastor say before that when kids are involved, it's never vacation anyway. It's a field trip.
It is a field trip, and it's work.
Vacation, it's when it's just you and your spouse, and that's it. Oh, so that's vacation, just you and your spouse getting away to rest, and everything else is either field trip or visitation. So,
well, in that light, then my wife and I are taking a real vacation. We're going Friday, and then Saturday we're going to be, celebrating our 40th anniversary.
Oh, yeah, where are you going?
We're doing it here, but we're actually
doing a staycation is what that's called.
We're checking out. We got some things we want to do around here. So we're going to do that.
What you going to check out?
Well, we like to go bird watching for one thing. Isn't that boring? Isn't that boring? Dude, I can't move. Come on, man. I can hardly walk. So, don't make fun of me. I've had to find things that are interesting to me that I don't have to walk with.
What a way to celebrate 40 years of wedded bliss. We're going to go watch birds.
They're beautiful. They really are.
I mean, you live in Charleston, South Carolina, one of the most wonderful cities in the world, and you're going to take your wife on your 40th anniversary celebration to watch birds.
Well, if she wants to. She might change her mind after she goes. We are going to go out to eat dinner downtown Charleston, so we're going to go to.
Where are you going to watch birds?
They have a place out that direction on 17 you can go to, and that direction
the
you can go to.
bird watching place.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they design it so you can watch birds. They have. So
what kind of birds are you going to watch?
Well, like last time we saw
saw
a painted bunting.
I don't know what that is.
That is a beautiful bird. It's like it literally looks like somebody painted it with all different colors.
You get to feed the birds?
You can if you want to.
You really?
Yeah, but I don't bring feed because they feed them. So, I mean, there's nothing against it. And we get to see alligators and other things too while we're there.
You're going to watch the alligators eat the birds?
So anyway, that's my idea of rest, brother.
I mean, that would put me to sleep real quick.
But isn't that rest? If it puts you to
hey,
sleep.
man, whatever. You go watch your birds. That sounds like a wonderful anniversary trip that you have planned. That's so romantic.
Oh, it's old, man. We're old people. Don't worry about it.
I was trying not to call you old.
I know,
this
and you're so
episode. I was
kind.
really trying.
You're trying.
I call you old every single episode.
By the way,
I was really trying hard, but yeah, that's an old man
You
thing.
have not. Oh, there it goes. I was going to say you have not, but
but you brought that one on yourself.
I claim that
you
moniker.
You brought that on yourself.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
So we're going to talk today about 8 ways to rest well.
Yeah.
So how do we do that, brother?
Yeah, so we need to talk about this because for some of us, we don't rest well at all, right? And so just that idea of a scriptural principle that God has created us to find rest, right? And to rest. Rest isn't a bad thing. Rest is a good thing. And ultimately, we're going to rest forever with Christ, right? That when we enter into eternity, we are entering into the rest of Christ, where that doesn't mean we're going to be inactive for eternity, obviously. I think we're going to serve for all of eternity, but it's a restful service, right? That we're going to not be burdened by sin and sorrow and pain and disease and all those kinds of things. We're going to be completely at rest, at peace with Jesus. And so you think about, the rest we experience in this life, it really is in a lot of ways pointing to the ultimate rest that we will someday experience with Jesus Christ.
Amen.
So anyway, let me give you why we need to rest before we talk about how we do it well. So here's why we need to take time to rest. Obviously, there are physical reasons because you are human, and if you don't rest, you're going to get sick. Right? If you don't rest, it's going to mess with you physically. It's going to mess with you, psychologically. I mean, if you don't rest, it's just not good for you. And you and I, we know people that don't rest well. And because of that, I mean, that does turn into a lot of health problems, and not only health problems, but family issues and all kinds of things. And so you need to. It's just, physically speaking, it is good for you to rest. I mean, how many hours of sleep you get a night, Trey?
I try 7. I think that's pretty accurate.
That works for me, right? I know that if I don't get 7 hours of sleep a night, that it does affect me physically. Our student minister, Jay, you know how many hours he sleeps a night?
About 3.
He sleeps like 30 minutes a night. I don't know how he does it, but it's crazy. And
he's fine. He goes all the way.
Now, he drinks about 4 gallons of coffee a day.
Yeah, he does do that.
Man, every time I see that man, he's got coffee. All the time coffee.
He does like the caffeine.
But anyway, I guess, he just doesn't need to sleep. But whatever, I need 7 hours of sleep, and that helps me to feel, rested and all those kinds of things. But that idea of rest, I need to rest because it is a reminder. Rest, your need to rest is a reminder that you are limited, right?
That's right.
I can't stay up. I can't, go hard all the time as much as I want to. I can't. My body will not allow me to go hard all the time as much as I might want to. That rest that I need every day to go to bed and sleep 7 hours or to take a vacation, every, 6 months or so, that rest is a reminder that I am limited. And it's also a reminder to me that while I'm limited, God is not limited.
Amen to that.
Right? He is not. And so you have that passage in Psalm 121:4 where the psalmist reminds us that God does not sleep, nor does he slumber. Now, he's always at work. Right? Now, we understand that when God created the heavens and the earth, you have Genesis chapter 1, and on the 7th day he rested, right? And it's setting a pattern for us, obviously. But we serve a God that, you can trust God is the point, that you can go to bed at night and lay your head down, and you can trust that God is at work on your behalf, and you don't have to worry, you don't have to stress, you can actually rest because God is in control and he knows what he's doing, right? And so that rest is a reminder that I'm limited, I'm finite, but God is infinite. He knows what he's doing, and I can trust him while I'm resting to be at work for my good and his glory. So that's a good thing, right? That I need that rest is a physical thing. I physically need it, but I also need it just as a reminder that I'm limited, and that in my resting, I can trust God that he's at work on my behalf. Right.
And that gives me great comfort to know that I can wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with some burden on my heart. And I can pray. And I'm not saying, oh, boy, I might wake up God. I better be careful here.
Yeah. He's always available,
he's
always accessible.
And he's always available all the way around the world in every time zone at any time.
Absolutely right.
So those kind of things just blow our minds.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So then the question becomes, and this is where we get into the 8 reasons or 8 ways we rest well. How do I rest well? That's the question.
Okay, well, let's talk about them. 8 ways to rest well. The first one is this: don't feel guilty for resting.
Yeah, I think that's what happens to a lot of us, and I think I've even experienced that. So everybody's job is different. Everybody has a different kind of career, and for some of us, it's hard to turn the job off. Not only is it hard to turn the job off, we feel guilty for turning the job off.
Yeah, we do.
Right? You think about the nature of ministry that we do, Trey. There's always something.
Always.
I mean, and that's reminded me too. Again, I'm finite. I can't do everything. But there's always something to be done in ministry. There are always problems to solve, always the next message to prepare, always that hospital visit to make, that phone call to make, whatever the case may be. There's always, and I don't know if you feel this way, Trey. I mean,
I do.
You've been doing this, a little bit longer than I have. I've been doing it for a couple of decades now. But just that feeling of, when I go home in the afternoons, I never feel like I've finished the job that day.
Oh, every
Right?
time. It's like I work hard all day long, and I work to get accomplished things. But even so, you go home and you just have that, I don't know what it is. It's that tinge of,
I didn't get it done.
Yeah,
I didn't get it done. And that's just kind of the nature of ministry. And there are other careers like that, right? Where you just leave the day where you feel like, you're incomplete. You didn't get it all done. And so then when you take time to sit down in the evening and then, enjoy a long meal with your family or go to a ball game or whatever it is to kind of, you feel guilty because your mind's thinking, well, what did not get done? And what do I need to get done? And then if you're like me, sometimes you'll turn on that computer late at night and start to, do a little more work because you didn't get things done, and you feel guilty. You feel guilty
so many times
when you have that moment to rest. When you have that moment at the ball game with the kids, and you're trying to enjoy the game, you feel guilty because I should be working because I get paid to work and I didn't get the job done and all those kinds of things. And I'm just telling you that the older I get, and the hopefully the wiser I get and the more mature I get, the more I realize, I ain't got to feel guilty about it. It's okay.
I think maturity gives you some of that, but I'm just telling you, at 61 years old, it's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, though.
Yeah.
There are Thursdays in particular, when I leave on Thursdays, I just feel like, I don't want to go home.
Sunday's coming. And
I don't want to go home yet. I got too much to do. There's too much coming up and da-da-da-da. So.
And I'm still bad about checking my phone and checking emails into the night, those kind of things. But I'm getting better about not feeling guilty for being at the ball game with my kids and watching them play, or being at that school event, or even just sitting down with the family and watching a movie or whatever the case may be. Those things are needed too, right? And just kind of remembering, and this is where we get out of balance with life, right? Just remembering those priorities. My priority, while God has called me to a ministry and I want to do that well, God has also called me to shepherd my family, and He has called me to give them my best as well. And so I need to rest from my work so I can focus on this gift of family that God has given me. So I don't need to feel guilty at all about that.
Yeah, and I think that it's a discipline of the faith as well.
Yeah.
I think, we have got to make that choice to say, I am going to.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to use the colorful language that this preacher did, but one of our great Southern Baptist preachers said that he pulls the curtains down into the day and tells the world to go to the devil.
Well, you could do that too.
No, but my point is that, in your brain, you need to have some kind of a curtain that you pull down, and you say, I'm done.
Yep. Done what I can do for the day. Tomorrow's a new day with its own, and that's a scriptural principle too, right? I mean, don't worry about the things of tomorrow when today has enough troubles of its own, right? Amen. That's Matthew chapter 6. Jesus talks about that. So don't feel guilty for resting.
Number 2. Know the difference between rest and laziness.
Yeah, so I say this because some of you rest too much, right? I mean, let's just be honest. Maybe you don't, but there are people in our culture that would certainly tend towards laziness, right? And they never work hard. So I think about it this way, right? That rest is a reward for my hard work. I work hard so that I can enjoy that time of rest and let that rest refresh me. The reality is some people need to get a job.
Yeah.
Some people need to get up and do something. Some people need to get up earlier in the morning and make the most of the days that God has given them for His glory. And some of us, I think just sit on our laurels way too much. And so understanding that there really is this idea of laziness, and the book of Proverbs talks often about this idea of laziness, and in a lot of ways condemns the sluggard. That's an unwise way to live when you're always resting, when you're lazy and sitting on your laurels and you're not doing anything productive for the kingdom. So you don't want to fall into that habit where you're always resting. For me, laziness can creep in a lot of ways, right? If I'm spending an exuberant amount of time, on social media or whatever, that can be laziness. Or if binge watch a series on Netflix. I mean, it's okay to watch a little TV, but binge watching and spending 8 hours watching a show one day, that might not be the best use of time. And so just kind of figuring out, okay, am I resting well, or am I just being lazy, right? And so being lazy, it's that lack of motivation to do anything productive. Where resting is, I'm recharging so I can be productive again after I rest, right? So just understand, don't feel guilty for resting, but also know that there's a difference between resting and laziness. Resting, again, is that recharging of myself so that I can get back out there and continue to be productive for the kingdom.
I think COVID has hurt this idea of a work ethic a lot, because now people are trying to figure out ways that they can get out of work.
Yeah.
And not that they haven't always done that, but it just seems to be much more pervasive in our culture, for instance. And the way you know that is because of comedy. A lot of our shows are about, how do you get out of work?
Yeah.
How do you call in and make them think that you're working when you're not? All those kind of things that are just counterproductive to a biblical ethic of work.
Yeah,
work is not a four-letter word.
That's
it is not a four-letter word.
And understanding, the scriptural design for work. Now we know because of the fall that work is cursed, that work is going to be hard, that's going to be challenging. Yeah. There's going to be thorns in our work and weeds in our work. We understand that because of the fall. But at the same time, God created work. It's a good thing, right? And to enjoy our work and want to work. I mean, I love working, right? And I know many of you who are listening love to work as well. And so just putting it in its proper perspective, putting work in its proper perspective and putting rest in its proper perspective. That's a good way to say it. Right?
Number 3, have a rhythm to your rest. So
so just think about it, because that is the scriptural principle, right? You think about the Sabbath rest. Now when we think about Sabbath, we have to understand that ultimately Jesus is the Sabbath. I mean, Jesus said that, right? I am the Lord of the Sabbath. So when you get to the Gospels, Jesus is the Sabbath. Our ultimate rest is found not in a day of the week. Our ultimate rest is found in a person. That's why when you get to Hebrews chapter 4, which you were talking about earlier, Trey, before we start recording, that you've been reading through Hebrews chapter 4.
Yeah.
But this idea of where in Hebrews 4, the writer calls us to pursue that eternal rest. That rest is found ultimately in Jesus, not in a day of the week. And so that Sabbath you see in the Old Testament, it was pointing forward to a reality that is found in Christ, right? But there is a principle there, that principle of, setting aside time to be refreshed in your walk with the Lord, and that rhythm of work 6 days, rest 1 day. Work 6 days, rest 1 day. Now, in our church, we wouldn't necessarily be Sabbatarians, right? We say the day is sacred, as far as, you think about a Jewish person.
Means Saturday.
Yeah, you think about a Jewish person who would,
We've been there, brother.
Yeah, we've been there. Who would still observe the Sabbath in that sense, where we're only going to walk a certain number of steps, and we're not going to push the elevator button, all that kind of stuff. We're not there, but we do believe that there's something, there is something sacred, if you will, about taking a day and saying, okay, today I'm going to cease from my working activities, right? I'm going to cease from the job I have, and I'm going to use this day for something else, to be recharged, to rest, to pursue something else for the glory of God, those kinds of things. And so having that rhythm is really important. So that weekly rhythm, I'm setting aside a day, and it is setting aside a day to enjoy God's creation, do something else. But hopefully during that day you're setting aside, we'll talk about this later, you're taking time that day to actually use it for the glory of God, reflecting on relationship with Him, growing in Him, those kind of things, right? But that rhythm to your rest, but not only weekly, even daily, having time that you're pulling away each day. I mean, I think about getting up in the morning and having my time with the Lord. To me, that's rest.
It is.
I'm retreating for an hour just to spend time reflecting on the Word, praying, maybe reading a devotional book or whatever the case may be. That is rest. Or pulling away in the afternoons after I get done here at the office, or whatever the daily activities are that are in my job. Pulling away and spend some time with the family, going to race, RC cars with the boys, or going fishing, or whatever the case may be. That's rest, right? Or even in the evening to sit down and enjoy some time with my wife, and maybe watch a show or read a book. I mean, all that's pulling away some time in my day just to be refreshed, and that's good. And so there's this rhythm of work, rest, work, rest, work, rest. And so establishing that rhythm is a really, really important thing.
And that leads us straight into number 4, which is, and I like this, rest when you rest.
Yeah. Now, we've already hit on this a little bit, so we won't talk too much about this, but just rest when you rest, right? Rest is a time to be refreshed so you can get back on your job, that thing that God has called you to do 6 days a week or whatever the case may be, 5 days a week, and to do it well. And so when you rest. Mm-hmm. And that, again, that's been, I'm the kind of guy that my mind's always turning, right? So I'm always thinking about, okay, what's the next thing I got to accomplish and all that, and just learning how to not do that as much. And when I'm resting, to be in the moment. If I'm at the boys' ball game, be in that moment. If I'm spending time with my wife, try to be in that moment the best I can. Whatever I'm doing during that time I've set aside to rest, I want to be in that moment, enjoy that moment, and not see, my fear is that, 10 years from now, when my kids are out of the house, right, then we'll look back and say, I should have rested better with them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so rest when you rest.
I just think it's with our job that we do, or I shouldn't say job, but ministry that we do, it's such a brain-oriented ministry.
It is.
We're contacting, we're talking, and it's people-oriented too, but so much is done in our brain.
Yeah.
And so part of resting for me especially, I've got to just I can't think anything. I just gotta veg. I mean, and that's what the beauty of my time with the Lord in the morning is. That's what it is to me. I don't have to, it's not that type of a thing. It's a time with the Lord, and it's very, very invigorating and very energizing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And I like this one, and I love hobbies.
Yeah.
But this is what really I have not been able to do what I want to do recently. So it's been very frustrating. But that's number 5. Find a hobby. Yeah.
Hobbies really do help you rest because I'm the kind of guy that I can't do inactivity. Mm-hmm. Right? To me,
I can agree with that.
There's some people that really do enjoy sitting down the evenings and watching their favorite show, and that's fine. It's just not my thing, right? If I'm going to sit down and watch a show in the evening, I'm going to fall asleep. I just am, right? That's just what it is, right? I mean,
and you don't even go to movies for that reason, right?
I don't go to movies because I'll sleep.
Not because you're spiritual.
Yeah, no, I know. Movies are great, whatever. I mean, I like to watch movies. It just usually takes me 3 months to watch one movie because I fall asleep every 10 minutes, right? Yeah. I mean, that's just me. If I get still, I'm on sleep, and so there have been many shows that Stacy now has started to watch, and we have never finished many of them, because I just can't stay awake. So for me, it's much more restful. Now, obviously, sleeping is restful, but is much more restful for me as far as that mental rest, and is to find a hobby. Now, I'm not the best at hobbies because. I kind of joke sometimes. My hobby is my kids, right? I mean, that's what I've got. I'm in that season of life.
You have to do that.
Yeah, and that's fine. I enjoy it, right? I'm in that season of life where I can't go spend, 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday playing golf or whatever the case may be. Not with children. I have to give my time to them. So my hobbies center around what can I do with my kids, right? So my boys, they love fishing, and so that's a hobby that, and growing up, I didn't do any of that. So I'm learning about fishing and how to do it better and all those kind of things, and I'm enjoying it. And but that's become a hobby that I do with my family that does give, rest. Or one of the things my boys have gotten into in the past years is for Christmas, Luke wanted a remote control car. So I invested and I got one of those nicer ones.
Oh yeah.
I spent a couple $100 and got one of these, like real deal remote control cars. And it's fun, man.
Oh man.
And so then when I bought him
one too.
Yeah, I had bought him one, then I had to have another one. And so we bought another one, so we had 2, and we found this little race car track down close to our house, out in Monk's Corner. There's an RC race car park, which is a lot of fun. All these jumps, and it's really, really fun. So we had 2 cars, and so my boys did this. They went in together and pooled their money, and they've already given it to me. They bought me an early Father's Day gift. They bought another race car. So now we have 3, so all 3 of us can race. So, but we've enjoyed that. That's been a fun hobby, learning how to take those things apart and make modifications and then go racing them. It's been a lot of fun. That's been a good release mentally for me, and it also has helped me spend time with my boys, right? And those things are good to have those hobbies. Some of our hobbies, can actually benefit our family. Like for me, I've been playing the piano since I was 5 years old. That was at one point a profession.
Yeah.
But now it's more of a hobby because I don't get paid for it every day like I did at one point in my life. But, I still teach some piano and those kind of things. That's a hobby. It's something I do on the side, but it helps me to make some extra cash, right? But that's restful for me to sit down and encourage and coach someone as they're learning how to play the piano. I mean, I don't consider that work. I consider that kind of a break from my normal career, right? And so find those things is really, really important because those hobbies, now you got to be careful with your hobbies because they can consume too much time and consume too much of your resources.
Certainly can.
But those things do provide a good way to rest from that normal activity and daily grind of a career.
All right, so find a hobby, and then number 6, include your family in your rest.
Right, which
it's not just about you, in other words.
Right. So again, if you're like me and you're in that stage of life where you have children, it's just trying to find ways to rest with your family. That's why setting aside that time. Now we need individual rest. I need that time to pull away by myself, to reflect on my relationship with God, to regroup, to read a book. I need that, but also I need to rest with my family to just enjoy life. Right? Whether that is going to the RC park and racing our cars, or whether it's going fishing, or whether it's going, on a hike in the mountains. We love to do that. Those kind of things. I mean, pulling away and then just enjoying each other and enjoying God's creation is a big deal. And so resting with my family is really, really important. And so making the time for that. And again, for me, it is doing that in such a way where I'm trying to not to focus on my job while I'm with them. It's focusing on them and just enjoying life with them.
Yeah, we used to race go-karts.
Yeah.
And so the boys loved it. I mean, they just adored it. And so we would literally pull away on that Saturday. And that Saturday, once a month, was given to racing go-karts. And they will never forget that, that time. And we spent years doing that. So it was a cool thing to do. It's very similar. They had a racetrack in Monk's Corner.
Yeah.
We were in Utahville. We just drive down. So, but investing, I could have said, this is my thing. I'm doing it. Yeah. But I wanted my boys involved.
That's right.
in what I enjoyed doing. So
that's right. That's good.
All right. Number 7, turn off. Are you for real about this? Yeah. Turn off your electronics. Is that for real?
Now and then you probably should do that. Because think about it.
I don't have an issue with it.
Well, sometimes I do. I think sometimes we'll mindlessly scroll on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever the case may be. And that is our way of escaping. But if you think about it, it's not all that restful. Because what happens when I scroll Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, I get riled up.
I am the same way. Kelly says, you need to put that thing down.
Yeah, because you'll see somebody post something like, what's wrong with you? Why would you post that, right? Or you read something political or something controversial. And so oftentimes, electronics, especially if I'm scrolling down the feeds, it's not restful at all because it's just riling me up. And so just disconnecting from all the media sometimes is really helpful. Read a book is really good for you, right? Or
books don't have commercials.
No, they don't have commercials.
They don't distract you with political opinions and all those things.
It helps grow your mind and all. So that's not a bad thing. So just take some time every week and turn off your electronics and you'll be okay.
To some people, reading is labor.
Yeah.
And, I love fiction. I've read Christian fiction just about my whole life. And, I mean, that just is very restful to me and very enjoyable.
I try to make that a habit because I read, the majority of what I read is nonfiction. But just throw a fiction book every now and then is really helpful and restful. You're right about that.
And then number 8, reflect while you rest.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why God has given us the principle of Sabbath is so we can set aside time to reflect on who is in control, who we can trust, who is the God of time, and that's God himself. And so, man, just making sure that you do have that rhythm where you are resting in your relationship with God daily for sure.
Yeah.
But then just setting a time, that extended time. You think about Sunday morning. I hope that when you come to worship at Northwood or whatever church you may attend, that it's restful.
Yeah.
That it's helping you to think about who's in charge, who's in control, and how you can live for him, and reminding you of the mission, his purpose, and all those kind of things. And so reflecting while you rest, making that extended, having that extended period of time where you are focused in on your walk with Jesus, thinking about what he's doing in your life and what he's calling you to, how you're going to respond to him, all those kinds of things is really important, and that is restful.
Amen. We are both of us, I think, are hard chargers, hard drivers. I mean, we're those kind of people. I need this today, what we just talked about. I need this.
Yeah.
There are people out there, though, that need the other way. They need to understand.
Go get a job. Yeah.
Not even getting a job. It's not about getting out of as much work as you possibly can. So here's my question for the morning we'll close with, and that is, how do we balance that out? How do we know we're balanced? What is a good way to say, okay, this is how I'm balanced?
Yeah. And I don't know if we ever achieve perfect balance, obviously. I think it's always a struggle to figure it out. But I think that if you come home in the afternoons tired, you're probably doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
I think, just evaluating your day. Have I given my best in my career or whatever that thing is that God has called me to? And have I also given my best to Him in the way that I'm resting in Him? And so just constantly evaluating, have I given my best in what He's called me to? And have I given my best in just that reflection of a walk with Him? I mean, I think if you just ask that question, that's probably going to help you to determine how you're doing in this area. Yeah. But I think for most of us listening, because I know our people, and I don't know everybody listening, but if you're part of the Northwood family, I probably have some idea who you are. I think for most of us, what we struggle with is not resting well.
Yeah.
We live in a culture that pushes us to work. And I know for most of us, we're running like crazy people all over the place trying to accomplish this, accomplish that. And it's okay to slow down and rest. And that's why we love summer. That's why I love, being at the beach this week and just taking some time to vacate and, relax a little bit. All those things are good. So this summer, make sure that you take some time to rest.
Well, brother, thank you for sharing your thoughts on rest. Like I said, this has been very beneficial to me. So as we think about these things, close us out and get us ready for next week.
All right, Trey, enjoy your bird watching this weekend.
I will.
Yep. God bless you. I hope you've had an encouraging time with us as you've listened to the podcast. If you've liked what you've heard today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can have new content delivered to your device every single week. Leave us a 5-star review. That helps us to get word out about the podcast. And as always, we hope today's episode has helped you connect faith to life.